welcome to Sheep Farm, and this is Dom again, and with me tonight is our Chris, as usual, and tonight, I suppose, all we're doing is we're testing Chris's new microphone. He's got a new microphone, I've been I've been nagging him for about 12 months to get rid of that old one that were snap, crackle and popping constantly, causing me headache, and people to emailing to me complaining about Chris's mic that I was telling him to change, and he was totally ignoring me, like younger brothers do.
It's satisfaction out seeing you frustrated and angry.
Yeah. But here we are tonight in another open air lunatic asylum called Great Britain, and I'm loving the heat wave. I like the way they call it a heat wave, Chris. I thought I think when I think of a heat wave, it's something that lasts for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
This is just hot summer weather.
Yeah. I mean, lovely hot summer weather. Why aren't we celebrating it, as I said before? But we're not, we can't, because we're in an open tinderbox. I saw that headline again the other day.
Yeah, tinderbox.
Go up at any second.
It's like, do you know the people we talk about in Sage, Spy B, where they were putting all these words in, like essential worker and all that type of thing. Yeah. And this is just the same. They're using specific words like tinderbox, or what they're called. Minds, yeah, cruise ships, petri dishes. It's the same thing, yeah. And they're on about now a hosepipe ban in Yorkshire. But the hosepipe ban starts on the 24th of August.
Right.
So you can use your hosepipe as much as you want up to 24th of August, but after that point, it gets really bad, even though it's going to piss down next week. No,
but did you see that article I sent you that said, although everyone's saying it's going to rain next week, it could cause flash floods.
Right.
So more horror. If you read the actual article, it says, because the heat's been so drastic, it's kind of solidified the ground. So when we have rain, it won't absorb into the floor. It'll cause floods.
Well, like most of this crap, there is some truth in that. That does happen. It doesn't, because the ground's been that hard. But,
is it?
But that happens every summer.
It doesn't have to be a nightmare, does it?
That happens in summer. And this is...
If you think, when it snows, right, like we've said before, we used to see big snow drifts. If it snows in London, half an inch, all trains stop. But yet there's a train in Siberia that goes straight through all ice.
Yeah.
I think I've actually said that before.
Yeah.
I do repeat myself sometimes.
Yeah,
but also, we pay X amount of cash to go to wherever to get 45 degree, and it's just shite, isn't it? More shit.
Yeah. Well, when we were in Croatia, it were in the 30s every day. Every day. Nobody were worried about running out of water or anything. And you're certainly not worried about running out of red witch piss, are you?
No.
You got another bottle there.
Yeah. Cabernet Sauvignon from Australia.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
I hope it's been washed down and wiped down, that bottle.
8 o'clock at night, isn't it?
How come it has to be 8 o'clock at night? I don't understand that rule.
Because I'm a functioning alcoholic, I've got to have rules.
Right.
Otherwise, I'd just be pissed all day.
So if it were 7:30, that means you're an alcoholic. Yeah.
No, 7:30's all right.
7:30's all right. Anyway, so they're on about hosepipe bans. And it actually said hosepipe bans from the 24th, I think, I do believe, and possibly future bans for essential use only.
Yeah, well, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Well, there was a town in Oxford, wasn't there, I think I read, that a village, all its water had been cut off. Its water had stopped, so they had to deliver water to the house. But if you read further down the article, as always, it said due to leaking pipes. So it was a construct when they constructed that event. Whether they did it on purpose or whether it was an accident, I don't know.
Or you just utilised it happening.
Utilise it, exactly. Yeah. You mentioned to me, did you say that he was a guy who was and he said that, mentioned as using the C word?
Yeah, he was I take it as a religious chap who passes our podcasts on to younger people, and he says, I'd prefer it if you don't use the C word. And I said...
I want to apologise to him because I don't mean to use the C word. I only ever use it if I'm angry.
It's mainly you that uses that C word. There's nothing to make you angry in these podcasts, Chris. You know, the stuff that we talk about and find out.
There's a lot of things to make you angry in these podcasts. And so if that gentleman's listening, I apologise and I'll try my best not to do it again. Especially if he's promoting the stuff at younger end. That's just rude.
Yeah.
And it is a very harsh word, isn't it?
I don't know. They all blend into one to me, but
yeah, but if it offends someone, it offends someone, doesn't it?
yeah.
It's not a word
But
I like to use.
But this is just another example of the government turning full commie. And now they want to control. Oh, there was another thing. They want to control water. So the supermarkets are saying that they're going to ration bottled water.
Yeah, 5 bottles each.
Is that what they said?
All right, so an article, just before we came on, I just flicked through Daily Mail online.
Right.
Which I do,
but
just look at the horror show.
I mean, that reminds me, is it going to get to a point where, like in World War II, where they're handing out loaves of bread and bottles of water, or after an earthquake?
Yes. I would hazard a guess.
Is that what we're heading towards?
They're probably going to do with what they call it as well, electricity, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, they're already talking about blackouts in winter.
Well,
yeah.
Then they'll come up with the solution to rationalise energy.
Yeah, to ration energy.
Which they've created with the rusty tank war.
Yeah, from nothing. Because all of a sudden, Ukraine now actually grows every single thing that we need in this country, from wheat to and oil is brought through Ukraine. Everything is brought from Ukraine. Even probably cat litter as well. Pardon?
Can you say that word?
Yeah.
YouTube?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. Yeah, you can say that one.
You say, of course you can, like, yeah.
Of course you can, Chris. You can say what you want on this.
Free platform.
Yeah, on this fantastic platform. I mean, going back on something else, it's strange, isn't it, that throughout the years, one platform more than anything, if I'm on about video here or podcast, has enabled us to grow is YouTube. So,
do you know, in my conspiratorial mind, right, I do have a nagging. Sometimes I don't care anymore, to be fair, but I have a nagging feeling that they've used it to track us all. It was knobheads who are doing this stuff, and those robot dogs with machine guns are going to turn up at some point. But like you've said before, if it gets to that point, what are you going to do anyway? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do you know what, Chris? I don't think that these people or this system is actually that clever. I don't think they're really, really clever. Well, I don't think they've got everything nailed down. All they've got is fear. They've got fear.
A combination of the Terminator films and that robot dog, to stop some conspiratorial people putting out some output, maybe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, quite possibly. Yeah, and I know there's quite I just think that the powers that be, and we were talking about this on Monday night on a podcast that we recorded that's taken me hours to edit because it were the quality of the connection with the chap that we did it with wasn't too cracker. Anyway, we're going to release that on Sunday, I do believe. But the quality of the recording, these people aren't that powerful. So there's 5% on each side, us and the 5% that run shit.
Yes, that was.
And in between, there's the 90%. And it's that question I keep asking, why us? Why are we here at this particular point? Yeah? And if we're like anybody, I hate to say this, by the way, we are more like that 5% there than probably, I know you don't like me calling them NPCs, but the NPCs in the middle, the people that will just go along with everything. Because we're definitely not like them. We're like the yin and yang. We're like the empathetic side of the psychotics. We're like the balance.
That was interesting, that 5% on each side.
But we've been saying that for a while, and I think the number is...
It was put across quite differently, I can't remember.
Yeah, succinctly. Yeah.
It made sense, didn't it?
Yeah, but all the time we keep asking this, people will come up with their own answers in their own head and explanations, and you get to a point where some, they're all starting to make sense now. I spoke to Matt Bureaucracy about it today. His explanation made sense. It's all of a very similar explanation. I mean,
speaking about Matt Bureaucracy, I heard him one. I was going to mention this, and it was from him. He mentioned findmyspring.com, which is a website,
right?
Just talking about water, and you can find natural springs near your house.
Yeah.
And I looked on the website, and I found one in Cambridgeshire, And me and my missus and Nipper went just for a day out. Just thought I'd go for a day out. And it was lovely. So theoretically, although no one was doing it, and the water was coming out of the ground, you could go and bottle up some water.
Yeah.
And it was Matt Bajeski said it on one of his podcasts.
You're only allowed 5 bottles though. And they've got a big glass.
Don't drop your plastic bottle in water when you get shot.
Yeah, you just get shot. Somebody comes and pisses on you. But yeah, I've just done a podcast actually with Mark. He just put it live on YouTube. It's Friday night now about parasites. One of my favourite subjects.
Yeah.
Which were an interesting chat because obviously he's talking from a spiritual parasite type side of it, and mine's been an experience of both really, but more the mind controlling, body system controlling, biological ones. But there are other types of parasites as well. I mean, we're witnessing one with the system that we're living within. That's a parasite that the parasites, the very word itself, what it means, it's basically living off a host. I'll read it here. What it is, still got my notes. An organism that lives in or on an organism or another species, its host, and benefits by deriving nutrients at the other's expense. Or a person who habitually relies or exploits others and gives nothing in return.
Right.
Yeah. And the word, we all know a lot of them. And the system's that same. It's just that same repeating pattern that just draws your energy off you. The Monsters Inc. paradigm shift again. And the word divok, not the COVID word, but reversed, divok,
was from that.
Yeah, means ownership of a malevolent soul.
Right. Bloody hell.
Or possession by an evil spirit. So the whole system is parasitic by nature, isn't it? And I'm thinking you've got 2 types of parasite. You've got the physical one, you've got the metaphysical ones, like what we talk about with Jerry. And the physical ones can be split into two or three or several groups. So you've got the biological ones that we see, parasites. Then you've got family, friends, like toxic relationship type parasites that just draw off you, spilling emotional baggage all over you type of thing. Toxic relationships, that type of parasite will draw. Then you've got the systems. I did just say the systems parasite, but then you've got the meaning, the spell words that these people are casting when people are watching like media, news and things like that. And that word there, divok, meaning ownership of your soul, that does sum up what we've just gone through, doesn't it?
Yeah. They've owned some people's soul, yeah. Whether
it's
due to the arm spear or just generally.
Yeah, I heard a bad story today, actually, talking about the 3-dart finish. A lady that coming to, in fact, I heard 2 today. Crab Claws text me today. Somebody he knows just took a bunch of flowers around to her mate's 39-year-old daughter just keeled over. Just had a. Hang a minute, I'll read a text that he sent. She had died from heart problems after a successful operation. Yeah. She died? Yeah. After a successful operation.
Operation of what?
I don't know. That's about as much as I got. Then a lady who's been coming who had jibbery side effects. Doctor said she's got something. I can't remember what it was now. Like motor neurons or something like that. She's got 10 years left.
What? He's given her a time limit?
A diet. Yeah. That's just a spell, innit?
How old is she?
My age-ish, a bit younger.
And they've told you got 10
Your
years?
age, probably.
Good God. And
but this is what we're...
Does she think it's from the arms?
No, I don't know. I didn't ask her. This is what we're witnessing, though. We're witnessing these people...
Are you working out that she's been arm speared?
There's too many. Well, she has because she came in because she had side effects of the jib jab.
Oh no, that's what I meant. Did she say she's had side effects? That's what.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, so we're witnessing this energy drain sapping life force type of, and if you think about it, childlike behaviour as well.
Yeah. Well, it's reliance, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be told what to do next.
Yeah.
Which has always been the problem, hasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. That drummer from Musical Youth as well, he passed away, didn't he? Frederick Waite died age 55.
And in my mind, they're still children, aren't they?
Yeah. I don't know what he's passed away doing, but he's just died as well.
One thing you do notice in these articles about people passing away, they don't tell you what they passed away of. You can read the whole thing, and often it doesn't actually tell you what's happened. And
that's when you can sort of, not to say smell a rat, poor guy's passed away, but...
No, but it is. I'm not saying it always is, but the introduction of sudden death syndrome that never existed.
Yes, yeah. Coinciditis, as Lance calls it.
On a positive note, can I talk about my serendipities?
Yeah.
Anyway, I know I bore everyone to death with my serendipities, but I think something weird's going on. I think it's a positive. I was discussing this with a girl at work today. I was at work today, and she told me one that. In fact, you know what? I'll tell her lie. I was telling her I'd had these weird serendipities, right? And she said her mum had one, and she also said she'd had one, and it were exactly how I describe them, where a thought pops into your head, you don't know why it's there, and then all of a sudden, I'll give you an example. This is all this week. I bored everyone to death about my bat one that flew over. And
why are you boring everybody to death?
No, because I bored myself, because I tell everybody. I bore my own self with my own voice. Anyway, all right, I won't say that again. That's a bit negative. Anyway, one of them, I was cycling into town with the nipper, and I worked in a hotel a while ago, about 8 months ago, if you remember. And there was a head chef there. I really got on with him, and he was kind of dating a girl who worked in the gym in the spa. For some reason, I'm just cycling. She just popped into my head. No idea why. I don't know why she popped into my head. I got into town, and then I started thinking, I wonder if they're still seeing each other. La la la. Got into town, walking through the Lions Yard arcade in Cambridge, and someone goes, "Hello, Christian," and it was her. Within about 25 minutes.
Did you say I was just thinking about you?
I don't know what would have been weirder or creepier, but that would have been...
Yeah, that would have been creepier.
Yeah. But that was one example.
I've just been thinking about you. I know we're in the shower.
The weirder one, let me try and explain it as best I can. So I was at work, right, and I just put some, I'm going to say new music on my my retro phone to play at work. But it wasn't from my hard drive. So it were Teddy Pendergrass. I put a lot of music on there, but I don't know if anyone's familiar with Teddy Pendergrass, 80s soul singer. I've got a few of his albums, and I've not listened to one for about 10 years, I don't think. So I was enjoying listening to it. And there's a guy washing up at work. He's older than me. And I said to him, do you know Teddy Pendergrass? He said, no, not really. And I said, well, have you heard of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes? You were the lead singer. And he went, oh, yeah. So we had a conversation about that, you know.
I always remember them because I used to call them Harold Melvin and the Blue Tits.
Brilliant album.
Yeah.
What's that song? Wake up, everybody. Da, 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 da. You know that one. Anyway, so we're having a conversation about it. I got thinking about Teddy Pendergrass. You know, you have a flashback of what you were doing when you listened to him when I had that album. Da, da, da. I'm going back like 20 years when I lived in Cricklewood. And I just thought, anyway, a nice conversation. The next morning, right, I'm in bed. Missus gone to work. I've got the nipper for the day. I hear my phone go off. Message. I go downstairs. I pick it up. My missus has left. This is a day after. My missus has left a message. Said, "I just heard Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes on the radio, and they were singing 'Wake Up, Everybody.' It just reminded me of you." It's weird. It's not that. It's not. It's weird. Anyway.
No, but when you add them all together, Chris. No, but when you add them all together,
you know what? I don't even know if I told you this bit.
I don't even think it's weird. I think
I picked up Matt Devlin's book, Musical True Free, which I'm working my way through. I'm not getting to read as much as I used to do.
Yeah. How much is he paying for that plug?
No, nothing.
Somebody will say he is.
Yeah. I bought it off Amazon.
Yeah, I did.
But I shouldn't have bought it off Amazon. I should have bought it off him directly and got it signed, to be fair. Anyway, I pick up his book. There's no word of a lie. I turn over one page, and there's a massive conspiratorial paragraph about Teddy Pendergrass.
Right.
I mean, he's a pretty obscure guy, isn't he? He's not someone that pops up.
He is now, yeah.
And he's not someone I talk about very often.
No.
I just thought that was odd. Anyway, moving on to another one quickly. Me and you were talking about T-shirts because you put that drawing on the last podcast. So we were talking about T-shirts for about half an hour, I think, because people keep asking us about T-shirts. I found some old drawings, cartoons that we did when you were first talking about Sheep Farm. And you put one of them on, what is it? So we're talking about T-shirts. And I said, I'd like to get a vest done. That's what I'd like to get done because I wear a vest. I don't wear T-shirts, I wear vests. After we'd had that conversation, about 20 minutes later, your friend Lorraine, who does some research for you, she emailed me. I've only ever spoken to her once or twice. And she emailed me and said, that design that Don put up would make a fantastic T-shirt. I mean, is that weird? Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, it continues. I was going to Waitrose. As I'm going there, I ring you to tell you about Lorraine emailing me. And we're both like, that's a bit weird. I'm on my way back. All the way back, I'm thinking, I want to get a vest. I want to get a blooming Sheep Farm vest. I might just get a one-off just for myself anyway. And maybe get a Gay Pink Cobbles one as well. Anyway, I get home, right? None of this conversation has anything to do with my missus. I get home. Lou says to me, she says, by the way, because it was my birthday the other week, she says, I've got another birthday coming for you. This is exactly how the conversation went. I've got another birthday present coming for you. I said, is it a vest? And she went, what? And she went, what? How did you? And I went, is it a vest? And she went, yes. And I said, what kind of vest is it? She said, I got you a Sheep Farm vest printed because I thought you'd like one for when you do live shows. I mean, is that weird, or am I going nuts? I don't know.
No, there's a lot of that happening. I mean, I told you one I had this week where, I mean, how many times have you heard of Pumpernickel?
Oh, that's good. Tell that story.
So, my missus were watching this program, one of these pieces of shite programs.
You mean those wonderfully educated pieces of shite your missus watched?
Yeah. Anyway, what somebody said, what can I have a drink that's different? Yeah, Pumpernickel, like a root beer. Yeah. Right, okay, yeah. And then I came down when everyone had gone to bed and I was watching something on YouTube. I can't remember what it was. And there it was again, Pumpernickel.
What was the context of Pumpernickel the second time?
It was about some health type values to it. And I'm thinking, I mean, that's one word where you might get away with Teddy Pendergrass once, but 3 times, or a vest or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's bigger stuff.
Specifically weird word as well. Is that to prove? Is that the universe to prove to you that there's some?
I don't know. I don't know what message something's trying to send, but whether we're more aware of it because we talk about it more.
Well, to be fair,
people are more aware of it.
I've always talked about stuff like this, haven't I? But it seems to have concentrated lately. And the fact that a girl at work said, "Oh, that happened to me the other day, and it happened to my mum recently." Then she said, "People are talking about this stuff on social media, saying, does everything seem a bit weird? I'm having all these coincidences happen." So it'd be interesting if anyone comments whether they're having any of these weird.
Well, I also asked you this question, and you said it probably both. But is it the speared and unspeared? Is it the? I mean, I think that, and I think a lot of people think now.
The attention could be to you get the spear, and whatever natural evolution's happening, it stops it, but maybe it doesn't always work.
But I think some of the spearing's been. Me and Mark were talking about this: duds or saline, or because But the serendipity thing is definitely happening. There's definitely something in there. What about in London, Chris, where they've been going through the sewage to find out we might need some more jib-jabs for
polio.
But yeah, polio, yeah.
Yeah, I put a picture on Instagram. If anyone wants to check into my Instagram, it's sheepfam.co.uk. And I put 3 on one news one day in the Daily Mail online, right? 3 articles. I can't remember what they were now, but there was 3 different ones about different spreadable illnesses.
Nonsense. Spreadable
and
butter. Yeah.
They're all in the one section, on the health section, Fatty, on
right.
Mail. And that's one day.
Yeah. I think you emailed me that, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did, yeah. But the people...
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah. There was the China, deja flu. China sounds alarm as 35 people fall ill with newly identified Langera, whatever, that is thought to have jumped from shrews.
And there's a picture of a shrew. That's when I think they're taking the piss out of it.
And I saw another thing where it said, "Be careful of your cats if they've been eating shrews."
They tried that with the original Divock, didn't they?
And then you've got the polio one rolled out to 1 million kids, Chris. 1 million kids
around London, because that's the reason it's London. I think is because it's a concentration of ethnic minorities. And
Listen to this.
They don't trust whiter.
It's detected 116 times in 8 different boroughs. It detected 9/11, might as well say.
Yeah. What was it, 118?
116.
Yeah, upside down 9/11,
Yeah. So in 8 different boroughs. So they basically said all of London's got it.
Yeah.
So how many people now are going to be queuing up with that spell that's been cast in their mind at the doctors asking for this for the children?
Also, is that to get the kids that people refuse to get the kids done with?
Definitely. That's 100%. Because I know they've been all the spears, even the kid spears, they're changing them all to this new technology, this new eugenics technology.
That might literally be a relabeled Divock spear. Who knows?
You don't know what it is, do you?
No fucking clue.
Not a clue. And then you've got the funky monkey socks. So they've had the 4th biggest. They've run out of funky monkey socks. Jib jabs.
Oh my god! I'm toilet paper. Quick!
And they've run out of them in 10.
And stop off and get some water and some toilet paper.
It says Britain is set to run out of funky monkey sock jib jabs in 10 to 20 days, despite having 4th biggest outbreak in world. Amid fears, vulnerable will be left exposed.
I'm happy to be exposed.
Yeah.
Expose me, please.
Yeah.
Did you see that article where that actress, Anne Hirsch,
No.
This. Anne Hirsch, actress, she piled into a house at 90 miles an hour.
Right. What just drove into it?
I think she was. They said this. One of the reports said she was drunk. There was a picture of her, and in the car you could see a bottle of vodka.
Right.
And then another one said that she was high out of her mind on cocaine. I thought the story looked strange, to be honest with you. Right. Then there was loads of stuff about different celebrities saying, "Oh, I hope she gets better." Then others saying, "That's ridiculous. She crashed into someone's house and set fire to their house." But this is the weird thing I saw. She's dead now, by the way. She's dead.
Well, right. How long ago was this then?
A couple of days ago. I think even today and a couple of days ago. But listen to this. On the article I just read, it said they left the life support machine on so they could take her organs out for organ transplant. I thought that was very strange.
So
they've turned the life support machine off, and she died of brain damage. She had severe brain damage. But listen to this. It was in a place in America called Braintree.
Why do we see this all the time?
I mean,
this type of...
in the article said she died of brain damage in, I think it was Milwaukee, I think, Braintree. I mean, there's a Braintree in England. Yeah, there isn't, that near London. I just thought that was strange.
Is it Anne Hershey?
Yeah, Anne Hershey. You'd recognise her if you saw her.
Blonde-haired lady?
Yeah. Yeah, you'd recognise her if you saw her. I just thought that was strange. They left his life, they waited to turn the life support machine off to take her organs out for organ transplant. I just thought it was creepy. I don't know. It was weird. And then died of brain damage in Braintree. And also, she first of all said it was drink, and then they said she was coked out of her mind. But they can't do an autopsy already.
Well, they obviously have taken her organs.
Just an odd story. Odd story. I mean, horrible, if, whatever, but just a strange story. Also, I just read in the news, because I was looking at Mail Online, Salman Rushdie got stabbed.
Right.
15 times in the neck.
When was that?
Today. He was doing a talk in America, and went on stage and stabbed him in the neck. Now, the only thing I noticed in the article, so I read through it, was it's 33 years since he released Satanic Verses. That was the headline. 33 years since he released Satanic Verses. And now he's been stabbed in the neck.
Has he been killed then, or?
He didn't say he was dead, no. He said they were airlifting him to hospital. I think it was in America. I'm pretty sure it was in America. Which is awful. I mean, you remember that whole shenanigans, don't you? About
Yeah. Where he had that fatwa put out on him, didn't he?
Yeah. Which, I mean, there was a lot of... I don't know. I bet no one read that book. I bet, I bet half of people that put fatwa out didn't read it. You just caused a big, I mean, was that the beginning of the whole Muslim, dislike the Muslim kind of rhetoric that they brought in?
Probably.
One of the beginnings of it, you know what I mean?
Probably. But again, he's Salman. Yeah, it was a strange story. I'd need to go back through and look at it to comment on it.
He's been in numerous films, Salman Rushdie, as well.
Right.
I mean, do you remember he went into hiding? I'm going to make a bad joke now, but do you remember that joke? What's got big tits and blonde hair and lives in south of France? Salman Rushdie. I'm sorry to make that joke of someone if they've just been stabbed, but that's the first thing that pops in my head when I hear his name.
Right. Yeah.
I apologise for that because that's awful. If he's been stabbed, if he has been stabbed, who knows? How's my new mic sounded anyway?
New mic sounds perfect at this end. Yeah, no popping, crackling. It means it cuts my time out.
After seeing this one that you told me to get and then comparing it next to my other one, it looks like a toy. It might as well be red and yellow and say toy on it.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. So we're heading towards winter months, and apparently, government is planning in case there's a need for blackouts. So planned blackouts amid possible gas shortages. So we've got a drought, we've got gas shortages, we've got food supply problems,
and constant lingering viruses.
Drought. It's very biblical, isn't it?
I was going to say, we just need pestilence, don't we?
Yeah.
I noticed as well in the news, they were talking about a meteorite just whizzing past Earth again.
Right, again.
2.6
over Glass Dome?
2.6
over firmament.
miles away.
Yeah.
But they said that in in space terms, that's pretty close. Would you be shocked if that were the next one, Fatty?
No. I mean, if they can sell what they've just sold to people around the world for the last 2.5 years, they can sell anything, can't they?
Yeah. And
I mean, my neighbour next door, I went out, has just been saying to me, I don't trust that Liz Truss. I mean, I'm thinking, why are you talking to me about this? I said, what? And you trust shoe knackers? And he went, well, at least he knows knows about money and all this type of stuff. And I'm thinking, are you out of your mind?
Throw up a lot of crap out your mouth.
Yeah. What about Keir Starmer and his?
What's your opinion of him? Well,
what about him? What about Keir Starmer? Fucking hell!
Can you do a backflip? If one of them could do a backflip, I'd be impressed.
Yeah. If you could play Seb's song on guitar, I'd be impressed.
Oh, by the way, you can see Seb's song played by him on the Instagram channel that's there, sheetfan.co.uk. And at the beginning, I said that was shite, and then he does it again. And now I feel really guilty because I'm like, it's like a bad dad moment, but it's actually there.
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with honesty, as I've been trying to be honest with you about finishing it off, but all I get is a load of grief. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a hell of a lot of stuff going on where they're cranking the narrative up.
To be honest, Fatty, if you went back 3 years, right, and you saw, if you were looking at the news, and they were always doing the horror show, but if you went forward 3 years and they showed you what's in the news now, you'd think you'd landed on another planet, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Just for the level of horror.
Well, I think they've cranked it up. I mean, I watched an old Richard D. Hall show the other day, and we were reading some news from 2018, I believe it was, and it were quite warm at the beginning of summer in 2018. And they were talking about hosepipe bans and it being global climate warming change and all that type of stuff at fault. Then it pissed down for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
So they were talking about this. It's just the levels they're talking about now.
All the time.
Yes.
You don't mention the weather without it being global climate warming, freezing change.
Did you hear that one where they're on about now, due to shortages of emergency response teams, ambulance stuff, they're on about, NHS are on about sending police officers to heart attack call-outs. So that is due to paramedic shortages.
Well, it's one of two things, isn't it? It's either paramedic shortages. Why would there be paramedic shortages?
No, it just is now, Chris. There just is. Because it's like with saying there's a right, hosepipe ban, crank it up. Only essentials, crank it up. Limiting, rationing bottled water, crank it up. They can do the bog roll routine anytime they want on anything.
Bog roll routine, was that a test to see how fucking gullible we are all that time?
That was a test to see how many ass wipes there were.
Maybe that was the whole test of the whole shenanigans for the last 3 years was,
yeah,
we need to try the bog roll thing. If that works, we've got them.
Well, that is the ash conformity, isn't it? That is.
If we see 10% of people leaving Tesco's with a trolley full of toilet roll, we've got them. Definitely got them. Yeah. Yeah.
But you will have seen people going to Tesco's today to buy bottled water.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, I bought bottled water recently because I can't distill it quick enough because I'm drinking more. But
yeah, but you haven't bought it because
I read an article.
Yeah. It's I don't know, these things are happening, and why is no one, like my neighbours for argument's sake, no one talks about it. No. All they will discuss is who's best one in, Liz, Cartruss and shoe knackers.
Yeah,
they can't discuss anything past that paradigm. They can't say, well, it's all nonsense. Yeah, we're just being used. They just think it's going to go away. They're all cowards. So it's the only word really I can think of who they are. They're all stupid cowards.
Well, unfortunately for us, or fortunately for us, we see what's lined up in front of us.
Yeah.
I mean, they're telling us now, actually, to be fair, that they're lining up the gas shortages. Maybe the government's going to swoop in and save us just to create that socialist nanny state that they're after.
Well, that is what it is, isn't it?
Because the thing where they're giving away 500 quid to help with your energy bills, don't do that. Just cut the tax on it. Solved.
It's all bollocks, isn't it? You know, they make is it 60% tax they make on it?
40 or 60, I can't remember. I think it's 40% or whatever. So cut that down by 20%. So the government are also making more money out of it. And BP made 7 billion profit last year. So it's easy to solve. Everything is easy to solve. You can stop the rusty tank what's not happening. You can stop energy prices going up because you're in control of that. And the water is just due to someone turning a faucet on and off.
Yeah.
It's all controllable, isn't it?
It is.
Every single bit of it. All the last 2 years was colorable, and that was the point. So yeah, it's all controlled fear.
Yeah. Well, this will only be going out on. Well, hopefully we'll put it on YouTube. It's not going to. It'll probably go on website as well, but it'll go on YouTube. And we've got another podcast that we did on Monday with a chap called Johnny Vedmore.
No, you mentioned that.
Who's written. Yeah. And it'll be Anyway, that'll be going out on Sunday.
Really nice.
A
lot of information.
Yeah. I was just annoyed that the connection weren't right, cracky.
Yeah, but you sent me the version that you edited. You said it took quite a while. And it sounds all right, to be fair. It sounds all right. It's not that bad. It gets better as well after about 40 minutes. It gets better. The only side of it is I'm not in it at all because you cut me out of every single bit.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that was a downside, really. Yeah. Listen to your voice sound like Norman Collier all the way through it. It's probably...
I had to buy a new mic.
Yeah, that what last straw, the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. So this is just a quick test of his new mic, and hopefully we'll do a live one in a few. It probably might be early September actually when we do a live one.
Another thing I want to run by you, Fire, is on Netflix, the conspiracy propaganda channel by what's his name? The half nephew, whoever that is.
Bernays
is whatever. Yeah. There's 2 shows I noticed on there now. I watched one of them, and it's a cartoon about conspiracy. I've forgotten the bloody name of it now. I've forgotten the name of both. There's a cartoon one on there about conspiracy theories, and it's almost like a Family Guy-esque kind of cartoon. It's actually quite good. Is it called Inside Job? I think it's called Inside Job. And it's like in an agency that is every conspiracy you can imagine, but they're kind of just sending it up. And also there's a Mike Myers one on there as well, which is, I forgot what it's called again. It's called a Paradigm or something. And it's basically like Le Circle, like 7 people who are running the whole show, But the twist of it is that the good guys. And the one weird thing I found about it, I mean, there's one character in it. Mike Myers plays like 8 characters. One of the characters is clearly meant to be Alex Jones, and all he does is sell some energy drink, right? The one character I found the weirdest in the head office kind of area is there's a guy who looks exactly like Stanley Johnson. Exactly like him. He's in a wheelchair, but he looks exactly like. I think he's English as well. But what do you think is going on there? Do you think they're sending up? Because there's quite a in there as well, in both of them. Do you think they're sending it up just to make it look ridiculous, like the whole thing of when if you say like that, they'll go, "Oh, I saw that Netflix show." And
well, I mean, firstly, Mark Bernays Randolph is part of the Bernays family, part of Sigmund Freud's ancestry.
Do you say he set up Netflix then?
He was one of the guys that co-founder of Netflix, and he was the first CEO of Netflix. Yeah. So, I mean, you've got the starter of public relations and probably the father of psychology, especially in the modern era, who people like Susan Mickey and all these other people they're starting up Netflix to start with. So anything on that channel has to be questioned.
I remember Netflix coming out because that was the start of the streaming thing, wasn't it? Where when you think of streaming music and streaming films, that is the beginning of your own nothing because you don't own it. It's a digital purchase.
Yeah.
Where you used to have physical CDs or albums or DVDs. That was the beginning of purchasing hot air, really. Because if the system goes down,
you don't get anything.
It's gone. Yeah, you're just creating it. I mean, I don't want to be a Luddite about that because there's some great things that. But even the Netflix logo, I think, this to you before, if you take Netflix out of that logo and put propaganda in there, that red and black background, it totally suits, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But anyway, think about them putting out 2 shows ridiculing the conspiracy world, but quite close to the bone. Like they wouldn't have done that 2 or 3 years ago, I don't think.
Well, there is. They try and just shift it a little bit, don't they? As in, what they're saying is a little bit true, but but this is the real truth of it all. So everyone stays in middle of the road, if you like. Or they could be just taking the piss out of it just to ridicule it. And a bit like the BBC thing where they've all them people in that building and basically you knew the end before it started.
Yeah.
The end is that everybody needs to be jib-jabbed and listen to the experts because they know what they're talking about. Yeah. And this is another controlled event, isn't it? It can't happen by accident. Netflix is too big. Ironically, there's a story out there that Disney's just taken over, not taken over as in bought it, but taken over streaming sales from Netflix, saying they've done it by stealth. So you've got Netflix and Disney,
to be fair,
vying for, and Amazon.
Don't shoot me for this, but we actually subscribe to Disney because I like the Star Wars stuff. I can see through all that shite. I mean, I do watch this stuff objectively. I'm not an idiot, but you can see why, because they're producing more content. And they're producing Star Wars and Marvel, which got massive followings. Netflix, there's not that many things on there, is there?
No, and also they've been obviously they're more experienced in doing this in the first place, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I watched what's it called? I watched that Buzz Lightyear one on there the other day. Don't get me wrong, you know, I enjoyed it. These people are very talented at entertaining you. I did enjoy it, if I'm honest. But I did notice it had the three main bits of propaganda in there. Traveling to other planets, that's there. There was a same-sex couple, lesbian couple, who had a baby. Now, my kid's watching that going, so women can have, well, they can, but not really. And also, Lightyear had a robot, which is a little cat. That obviously, you know, it's basically an AI robot, but he becomes friends with it. I mean, that's been seen in numerous films lately. But you just think there was no need to put the same-sex relation having a baby together. It's not necessary to put that in there, is it?
Well, again, the LGBT thing, I mean, it's been pummeled. Again, it's another one of those things. You could write a list of 10 things that the pummeling, or however many things, every single day, week in, week out, on every news show.
Well, also, it should go to percentages, shouldn't it? Percentage of the population are that, then we represent that in a film. So
it's far too rational, that, Chris.
So anyway, we were watching TV the other day, and I said to Lou, there's far too many black people in adverts. She went, oh, you can't say that. And obviously me and you are part black. And it doesn't matter if we are or not. You can say that. You can say whatever you want. And it's true, because it doesn't represent the populace of England, does it? If you look now, every other advert is, which, if it was done...
It's all virtue signalling, isn't it, Chris?
This is what I'm trying to say. If it was done for the right reasons, fantastic. But it's not.
Yeah.
The percentages aren't right. There's a ridiculous proportion of disabled ethnic people and well, I'm going to say.
Well, again, the reason
I'm going to say gay, but that doesn't even count anymore.
No.
You know, it's all right saying it's all diversity, but it's not diversity. It's divide and conquer at its classic level.
Yeah, it is. It
exactly
is.
what it is.
And
so you've got Fatty though. Just sorry, quickly. You've got, although it's great that there's now ethnic minorities in adverts. That's fantastic, but it's unproportionate. And then you've got your average, and they don't even know it's happening. They're going. You've got some person who is, you know, possibly a little bit racist, you know, possibly, but maybe not that much. And they're getting pushed over the edge because they're like, why is so many black people and disabled people and, you know, homosexuals in adverts? It's driving me mad, you know, and they're getting wound up about it, but they can't say anything about it because if they do, they're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's like how they've got this down to such minute detail on everything, where you can't talk about anything.
Yeah.
You're more likely to be able to talk freely about being a transvestite and going into a school doing stripping classes for under 10-year-olds than you are by saying that's outrageous.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the fucking madness we're living in.
Yeah.
And they've grouped it all together. So now racism and homophobia and sexism are really all the same person that's doing it. Yeah. You're far right, whatever, brain dead Neanderthal that can't hold a conversation down. When in reality, all you're trying to say is, look, it's not proportionate. What you're saying to us is, I agree. If somebody who's transvestite, they shouldn't be singled out and vilified. If they want to be that's their choice. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not, no issue.
I say it as a human being, and I could not give a shite.
But the way they talk about it is that every 1 out of 2 people is a transvestite. Yeah. And there's a problem there. Let's face it, if 1 out of 2 people were transvestites, it'd be even less of a problem now because 1 out of 2 people would be transvestites.
Yeah.
So every other person you spoke to about it would go, well, I'm a tranny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also, if 1 out of 2 people in Britain was, we're not talking at 70s here where they were playing Love Thy Neighbour, which were obviously openly, or the other one with Alf Garnett in, right? which was obviously telling you how people were thinking at that particular, or how they wanted you to think at that particular moment in time.
Again, that shouldn't be wiped from the world, because
No,
that was
it
was very funny, and he was playing a stereotype.
Yes,
that existed at that period of time,
and that in that period of time, that was when
the show racist, does it?
No, well, the show was no, it doesn't make the show racist at all. But that's how it's classed now, because no one knows the meaning of racism anymore.
No,
because if you look up the word, it doesn't actually mean what it's been told it means. Just like if you're a sexist, what does that mean? If you're homophobic, what does that mean? Because you can be classed as homophobic if just by saying, don't you think it's disproportionate how many gay people are on TV to straight people? Yeah. You're now homophobic.
That's not homophobic.
No.
I mean,
to me, it isn't.
We were brought up in 80s.
But it is, again, if they want to say there's a drought because it's been warm for 2 days, then there's a drought. And you're a global climate warming change denier by saying it isn't a drought, and a right-wing fascist, and everything else that's rolled into that as well. And that is where we've got to.
That is the upside down world we live in.
I just read through some notes here, something that Crabclaw sent me in. He said anybody with a dark sense of humour could be signs of early onset dementia.
I've had it for years then.
Yeah. So if you've got
dementiaed up.
Yeah, if you've got a dark sense of humour now. So what they've realising by releasing news stories like that people who have got this slaughterhouse sense of humour, like most people listening here, who I've interacted with anyway, think like we all do. Yeah. You know, we question things.
And laugh in the face of their knobbedness.
Yes. So they're analysing what type of humour people have got who are into what we're into. And the far right nonsense hasn't worked as well as they wanted it to. No. So now they're going to have to come up with new areas of attack just to try and beat it out of us. What I don't think these parasites realise is that the approach isn't to beat it out of people like us.
No, because it won't work.
That won't work. It just won't work. Because they probably do realise is that they can't beat us. Not spiritually or on a mental battlefield, if you like. Yeah, they could roll tanks in and wipe us out, but they still won't be able to compete with us on a mental battlefield. No. They can't. This is why we are in this position now for that yin and yang, because they can't come.
That certain amount of people, when they said you can't go on holiday, said, well, I don't give a fuck, screw you.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll wait it out.
Yeah, I'll wait it out. I mean, me and you discussed this. I might never go abroad ever again. Don't care. Yeah. I do care, but I don't care. If you know what I mean. Yeah. I can handle that. Fine.
Can handle that. Yeah.
You won't be able to do this. Don't care. Okay.
Don't care. I'm not doing it.
I won't do it anymore. I'll readjust my existence.
Yeah.
Into a world where I don't go abroad or go to the cinema anymore.
I'll just turn that tap off.
Yeah. Or I don't go to the pub. Yeah. Those things just don't exist anymore. And to be fair, I'd already prepared myself mentally that they didn't exist anymore.
Well, it comes back to that point, Chris.
You're going to Croatia next week.
Yeah.
I went to the cinema last week. So they came back. Fair enough. Great. Whatever. We had a win. Or was it contrived? Who knows? But I was mentally prepared that they wouldn't happen anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't give a shit. I was mentally prepared. I had to send my missus into Waitrose because I couldn't go in.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, going back to what we were just discussing a minute ago, you know, the people in power, I don't think, are as powerful as the 90% believe that they are.
Well, two examples there, Fi, right? That one where Klaus Schwab's talking to that Pfizer guy, right? And they're going, they didn't really listen to you probably remember it better than me.
Yeah.
Didn't really listen to the manipulation. We need to do harder. They could be quite casual, but there is an element of fear in that conversation. Yeah. And then you got Savage Jadid sweating his little bald head off.
Yeah.
Saying they need to make sure because, you know, in his geeky, high-pitched voice, they need to make sure that just before they tried to, get all the NHS to have it.
Yeah.
He was terrified. There was fear in his voice, and there was fear in not so much fear in Schwarzer, but like an acceptance that the plan hadn't worked to the level that they wanted it to.
Yeah. The thing is with these people, they control, or they've managed to get. Or I still think there's several groups, and maybe there's a group or groups of individuals or whatever that are saying this is wrong. You shouldn't be treating people like this. Who knows?
Absolutely. I 100% agree that. Even if you go down the blood, say you take that 5% that we talked about with Johnny, and you take that 5% that says maybe 1% of that 5% have got slightly higher morals than the rest. Not the perfect level of morals, but they've got slightly higher ones where they think, right, okay, I'm still in for the agenda. I've got the agenda, but I don't want this, and this to happen.
Yeah, because I've got
psycho does. I don't, but I'm still in the club. You know what I mean? And I've still got to do X, X, and X, but I'm not as willing to go as far as they are. So I'll fight against them. And also, if they've got that much clout, and there's 5%, say for instance, the egos in there must be phenomenal. You know, if you're at that level and you've got all that clout, that even the good guys must have egos bigger than you can imagine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They have to have. They have to have. But I mean,
then also in them families, there might be good guys within them families who don't want anything to do with them. You don't know, do you?
No. And I certainly think there'll be infighting. But I also look at it, and we said this, the 5% of us are mixed. We're mixed from a racial point of view, from a country point of view, but we're of a certain age group, of a wide age group with a wide set of skills. And I think if you were going to get rid of one part of society, and I'm not saying this with any glee in my voice, by the way, because we've got friends who are in the other side, if you like. But who would you have? A gullible, malleable part of society that will do anything that they're told, that are just useless eaters, or people who are creative and inventive.
That part of society is also creative and inventive.
That part, what, sorry?
That part of society is also still creative and inventive. They just chose to
get speared.
Listen to the system, yeah.
Yeah, but where I'm not saying we're all creative, because I don't believe that, but what I mean by that is we're the ones that have got some backbone, if you like.
Well, I think I said to you the other day, are we going to be looking after the orphan kids?
Well, there is that as well, because one thing that people on our side of the fence have is empathy.
Yeah.
I also see a lot of people who've been tapped, sort of recognizing that they were wrong.
Right. But still in denial, or
no. But I don't see anybody who hasn't been tapped recognizing they were wrong. because in theory, and I'm not saying we set out to be right or validated.
No, but we should be in theory, we should be the ones with regret at this moment in time.
Yeah. Mark was saying that he met people that he said people are looking up to people like us who said no.
Right.
Wishing they'd done it themselves.
Right.
I don't know anybody in our circle, if you like, from emails and things like that, and people we speak to, that regret not having it.
No.
I don't know one person.
To be fair, where I am, I only know 4 or 5. I think I was thinking of this. I'm cycling home from work. I only know 4 or 5 people who haven't been tapped, but I don't really have that many big social group in Cambridge. So, right. And then all my friends up north have been, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, everybody. Well, no, there's quite a lot of my because I'm a bit more outspoken than you are, but a lot of my friends haven't been, because I've spoke to them over the last 10 years, whatever. And also a lot of my stuff that I'd learned were about health. So it fit in. I were already talking about jib jabs yonks ago.
It's funny, actually. I wrote this down for you. Like you, in the conspiratorial world, if you like, over the last 10 years or whatever, you were going down the health road. I was always going down the esoteric world, if you like. Yep. And, I always talked about, like I said, serendipities and ghosts, UFOs and all that crap.
Yeah.
You were always health, a bit more grounded, I'd say. And I was saying to you earlier, when you were telling me to listen to Richard D. Hall,
going back into late 2000s, yeah.
Yeah. And I was telling you to listen to Freeman Fly.
Yeah, you were, yeah.
And we were both banging on to each other to do that. And then we eventually did it on his own anyway. You discover it on your own, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
I was listening to Freeman Fly last night in my shed, making my sculptures. And he put a show out, and it was his one from 2008, right? And it's actually pretty mind-blowing, to be fair. I don't know if anyone's ever listened to Freeman Fly. I'd recommend going to his YouTube channel. Sorry, don't go to his YouTube channel because it's been deleted. Go to his website.
Has his YouTube channel been deleted now?
Yeah, gone. It's been gone for a long, long time, actually. But some of the videos he put on there, man, he's way out there, and he's good, and he interviews some good people. But I listened to one of his from 2008. I think he put it on Apple Podcasts or whatever it's called. But he's talking about hermaphrodites and stuff, saying they're trying to push the hermaphrodite agenda. I mean, no one was talking about that in 2008. That was
it was news, that, Chris. I'm not saying it was big news, but yeah. But I mean, Freeman's been first in on a lot of things, hasn't
he? Yeah, he's one of the early conspiratorial podcasters.
Yeah.
I think he even came up with that, that famous, infamous picture of all the logos, about how they're all tied into Masonic, whatever. He also pointed out, the one I was listening to, he was on about Batman, and he said, Lucius Fox. Fox is the only word in the alphabet that spells 666 in numerology. And he's, the Morgan Freeman character in Batman. It's called Lucius. So basically, Lucifer Fox. Lucifer 666. And what does he do? I was thinking.
Another coincidence.
He comes up with all the gadgets and all the technology to help the Dark Knight move forward. I mean, yeah, he didn't say that. But
you said that.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that when he said it, because but some of his videos, and I think I sent you that one years ago, the one about the Obama, the Egypt connection.
Yeah, you did.
Obama was known as the renegade, and his kids were called something, and his wife's called something else, and it was the exact same as an Egyptian king or whatever in Egyptian times. And there's even footage of Obama walking up to that statue and going, "That looks like me." Now, and when you think about it, the Egyptians, they mummified themselves because they were going to come back in thousands of years. Was their mummification something to do with saving DNA to regurgitate them back in the future?
So you're saying Obama might be a clone?
Well, kind of a clone, because we cannot do that mummification process now, that they did in them days. So why can't we do it? So by them being mummified and saying we're going to come back in X amount of years, was it literally saving their DNA or whatever so they could actually clone them and reproduce it? I think that's what Freeman... I don't know if that's what Freeman Fly goes on about if you watch his thing, or I've just come up with that myself. I don't know, but I think he pretty much goes down that road. But that same prince or king was called the renegade, as they shouted about Obama. Anyway, I'd say, and he introduced me to, I think, Springmeier and numerous other people. Who knows? I'm sure he's going to get called a shill and all that stuff. But I think he's got some interesting stuff on there.
Yeah. But again, I mean, going back to that shill, what people call Freeman Fly a shill?
I think so, yeah.
What?
And who's it? What's his name? Fritz Springmeier gets called a shill, and so does the guy who died recently. What's his name? Sorry if
I've forgotten. Gone as well. Anyway, it's this shill business. That's been an implant.
What do you think of Alex Jones? He's just been in court recently.
Again, a bit like
his court thing.
Yeah,
it looked very staged and fake.
Well, maybe that was staged, but what is staged? I mean, if they can make a BBC program that's meant to be an honest, open debate about whether people should take a medical intervention, look like a one-sided arm wrestle. So you've got one person against seven, and the one person, being that ginger woman, comes out on top because she's the expert, and you've got to listen to what she says, trust the science. And so they could make Alex Jones's court appearance look like Johnny Depp's, just a TV show.
Well,
I'm not saying that's what they've done, by the way. I'm not saying that.
The fact that it's in the BBC and it's in all the main news things makes it a bit dubious. But I mean,
Alex Jones was on the BBC with Andrew Neil once, wasn't he?
Was it? I don't know. Was it?
And he made it like David Icke. He made him look like a moron. But again, why would you? If you're one of them people, like Richard Diol always says, if I've got control over what is actually released, then I'll come on your show. Because if not, they're just going to make you look like a moron, aren't they?
Yeah, it's very easy to edit those stuff, isn't it?
Well, you've got professional people who do that for a living there. That's what they do. Make you look like a moron. You could say 10 things. They could chop it up and put it at different stages and make it look like a right fool. And then you build CGI in as well. Now, I don't know about Alex Jones. I never really warmed to Alex Jones. You were always too loud for me.
You're a bit too shouty for me.
Yeah, a bit too loud. But
then he came out with some crap. I think he was that first Bohemian Grove.
Well, I would say that him and Ike are probably giving people... I know people now who were sort of brought up, or opened up or work or whatever with Ike, who now say he's a shill. So does that mean everything they've learned is a shill?
Like I said before, are the old shills lining us up for those machine gun toting dogs?
Well, yeah, but
I don't know. Who knows? Anything's possible. But
even if you're not right, even if you're not a shill, if you believe the Earth's a certain shape, then you're not on the proper team. And it's like
I'm quite happy that we've been accused of being shills already.
But even Matt Devlin has. Rise Above lads have. It's like, so what you're saying is, if you do research, you come up, write a book like John Hamer and people like that, then you're a shill. So where is all information going to come from if you haven't got people like that?
I glitched out on a live show for.
Yeah, you turned lizard man. But how are you going to get people to even Hugo's been called a shill?
Well, do you know what? I'll tell you what. Look at it another way, right? The fact that we've been called shills and we both know we're not makes anyone who gets accused of being a shill not really a possibility to start with until proven otherwise. Let's put it like that. Because we know we're not. We're just exactly. You're up there and I'm down here and we just talk and do this. No one interacts with us or tells us what we should say and what we shouldn't say. So if we're being accused of being it, then it doesn't mean anything, does it?
No. But then who's actually doing the saying? Again, I don't know how we're going on to this conversation, but it doesn't upset me, but it shows where we're at because we're in a level of paranoia, and this is right in the sort of hurricane's eye, if you like, where we are at this moment in time, where we're 3 years into this operation. I'd say this stage of the operation. The operation's been running probably for decades and generations, but
or thousands of years.
Or thousands of years. But we're 3 years into this part of the operation now, and it is sending people gaga on every side of the fence, because you've got an American president who can't string 2 words together. I mean, that's just a joke.
I think it's supposed to be a joke.
I think it is. I think you're right.
You're looking at the crumble of the people that run that country.
You've got drag queens going into schools and doing dances and teaching kids to dance for money. I mean, that wouldn't have happened 20 years ago.
No. Got breastfeeding.
You've got chest feeding. You've got... They're telling us there's a drought and it's only warm for 2 days. And it's a drought. And
Rusty Tank was.
Everything, the very fabric of life is being broken down into pieces and undermined. Everything takes weeks and months now to get done, not hours and days. You know, there's a shortage of staff all of a sudden. Why is there a shortage of staff? I thought there were loads of people out of work.
You try and sack a load of them last year for having the arms.
Yeah. There's a shortage of everything at this minute in time. Why? Why is all of a sudden gone from abundance to shortage?
But also, it's verbal shortage. It's not actual shortage. Because if it's actual shortage, people will kick off.
Yeah, but it's nowhere near shortage. But it's not the same.
Verbal shortage. That's what I mean. It's not existing in front of you.
But everything we've been sold is to make life easier. AI, IT, all this shite that we sold is to make life easier. You try opening something online now. How hard is it? You order something, you try returning something. It's very difficult to get stuff done. We ordered some lights for the clinic. We're doing the upstairs part of the clinic. And I said to Nick, you better ring them up, see if they're in stock. So she said, oh, no, they're in stock if they say that. I said, I'd ring up. So she rung up. She said, are they in stock? Yes. Okay. They told us there's 16 in stock. Place the order, like, instantly. Yeah. Email back. They won't be back in stock till end of month. And this is the type of shite that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, where you've got people telling you one thing and something else is happening. And it's like it's all been set up. I think Marcel Lee were talking about it one time. Like if you were a Satanist, you'd set it up that just drove people insane.
Everything's a bit difficult.
Everything, yeah, just a bit more difficult than it was in 2019.
It reminds me of that. It reminds me, do you remember Ben Elton going on about the industry of bad design?
Do you know who Ben Elton is, Chris?
Who?
Olivia Newton-John's cousin.
Really?
Really? Olivia Newton-John's grandfather was MI6, no, MI5, and her father was MI6. Yeah. Sorry, grandfather was MI6. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, but Ben Elton, you were saying?
No, I'm going to say do you remember when he did that whole sketch about the industry of crap design? Why make a teapot that leaks?
Yeah.
Is it? And they all leak. Is that just to piss you off? You go on the government website to pay the dark charge if you go to south of London, and it's not fucking easy to pay that dark charge. It's £2.50.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, I got to see my missus folks, and it's not easy.
Well, 2 years ago when they opened London back up, I didn't want to go on train because they had, masks and all this shite. So I drove down, and you had to sign up to be on the congestion charge thing.
Yeah.
And it's
dark charge, congestion charge.
And it was £10 a year or something. Or they've changed it, right? And I haven't used it. I've used it that year to drive down. Normally I used to go down train. Charged me 10 quid. So the DD 10 quid at my bank. No, didn't tell me they were going to do it or anything. So I rung them up and they said, can I have my money back? Why? Well, I haven't been to London. Yeah, but I said, no, I never asked you to charge me 10 quid. I want to cancel it. And I want my money back. All right, yeah, we'll give you your money back. So refunded his money back. Sent us a letter, or an email to say they can't cancel it until his next statement comes through. We'll have to ring up then.
Well, that is exactly what I'm talking about. That's
exactly
what you're talking about. Just
nonsense.
It's like, I don't know if anyone's seen the film Brazil. It's like Brazil, just bureaucracy. It's like a fucking Kafka nightmare.
Red tape after red tape after red tape, on top of red tape, on top of red tape. Yeah. And we're living this now. This is a communist fascist dream, isn't it? Where fascism used...
Show me your papers. Have you got the correct papers?
And it also used industry as well and business. Yeah. So it were like government-controlled business type stuff. Communism was these things have been welded together, and the best bits, as you keep saying, taken out of them, and now utilised or starting to be utilised against us with a backdrop of Sodom and Gomorrah. Of let's tell everybody that most people are transvestites and closet whatever, and people. They're saying there's tens of thousands of, not tens of thousands, 6,000 I think it was, or something like that, large number anyway, ready for suing Tavistock.
Yeah, well, they closed it down, didn't they?
Yeah, but I mean, have they closed it down? Because was the intention that it was always going to be, let's get the ball rolling, and now we don't need to be here anymore? It's
quite interesting that to me was the first visible version of Tavistock, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been a conspiracy theorist chit chat dream.
Yeah,
that was the first. I was surprised that it was mentioned in the mainstream media, if you like, that the Tavistock Institute of, I mean, what's that about? I mean, some reverse psychology operation.
Well, it was transgender. It was full-on transgender operation.
The fact that it was in the news that they were closing down that Tavistock Institute of the Chandran thing. I mean, is that a Tavistock operation in itself?
Well, it sounds like it, doesn't it?
Talking about it.
I mean, you look at the spin-offs from Tavistock, and then you've got the Sage Spy B team and all the other teams. They've now been interwoven into World Healing Organization, which have been interwoven into government, which have been interwoven into other governments around the world to do the same sort of propaganda, which we're now seeing used in global climate warming change. Essential lists, tinderbox, all this type of stuff. We're seeing this propaganda used on us so much now. It's becoming that obvious to people like you and me and other people that it's a joke. And this is what I'm saying. They're not that clever because they've used everything in their power to do this. Everything.
Yeah. And it still hasn't 100% worked to the level they wanted it to.
No. Because this isn't about. I forgot to say that. Yeah, that's right. I was just going to say that. What they haven't got is they haven't got that conscious emotion side of their. They just think that everybody should do this.
Well, just as an example, right, from what we talked about with B.J. Johnson and all these other ones, they've been traumatized to a level to lose their empathy, right? So if they've all lost their empathy through God knows what they went through growing up, how are they supposed to read our minds? They can't, can they? Because they haven't got it. It's gone. So all they're doing is guesswork. It's guesswork and statistics. So they can use 100 people say, that takes all the humanity out of everything, doesn't it?
Yes.
And that's where
that's where it falls down for them. They haven't. Their consciousness is totally different from ours.
It's gone.
Yeah. Because they can't. They don't understand why nobody would think like them. Yeah. Yet we understand why
we're offering you money to get that arm spear. Why would you not take it? We're offering you a kebab.
We're offering you freedom to have that arm spear. We're offering you the chance to go on a cruise again to have them 4 arm spears.
On cruises. You've always loved going on cruises, Ben.
Yeah.
You've always loved going on holiday. You've always loved going for a pint. Why would you? So now you will do it because we're telling you if you don't do this, you will not get that.
Then you've got all this 5% of lunatics,
stubborn bastards going. Well, hang on a minute. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Even if I love that stuff, I do not want it because you're shouting far too loudly at me to do that.
Yes.
And stubborn me will say, no way.
Every day of the week.
Every day of the week.
Every day of the week, we would say, no, thank you very much. We're not doing that.
Stick it up your ass.
Yeah. And I think this is the part that they don't understand. They do not understand that part. As much psychologists as they can have, all these psychologists, they can have all these people. I don't think they've got a clear image or a clear view as to how we really think, because they've got to say we're mad or we don't understand.
Yeah.
To get an answer to people, Yeah. I talk to mine. They talk to me fine. They realise that.
I always said that all the way through the nonsense. I always said humanity will win out because they won't turn on each other like they want us to.
Yeah.
And I think they wanted the jab to be screaming at the unjabbed in the street, saying you need to, and it never happened. And I don't think it even got close. I mean, you got your occasional waitress person jumping out of my way. Bearing in mind, funny enough, actually, I was walking down the street yesterday, and
what, in daylight?
Yeah, with my child
in a vest.
This woman, she. It was weird. She walked past me. She put her hand over her mouth as she walked past me. I reckon she was like 30. I thought, oh God, come on.
You should have sneezed on her.
But also, you can also see, you can almost witness what's going on in the news by how many people are wearing nappies on the face in the supermarket. Do you know what I mean? You can see like more people wearing them. They must have fired a bit more fear into the propaganda system today, just to get them doing that.
Well, I again, they have got them doing that because, like they said, they've thrown the spell of the polio nonsense in the sewage, exactly. And all of a sudden, You walk past in a vest with egg stains down it, and she's holding her nose.
And also, about that polio, they haven't had one case of it, by the way. And I think this is a piss take so far. They haven't had one case of it, but they found it in the sewers, basically in your crap.
Yeah.
They've basically discovered in your shite that there's a rise in polio.
Yeah.
So now you need to get a new arm spear.
Yeah.
I think that's a piss take out of you as well, as much as a shrew or whatever. We've discovered in your toilet that you're diseased. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a piss take. It's taking a piss out of you.
Or is it saying that we won't stop at anything? We'll even go through your shit.
Yeah.
And diagnose you.
We'll diagnose you with your shit. We will lock you down because of your shit.
Yeah. It's
sorry for swearing to that guy in America.
Strange. Yeah, it's because you nearly polished that wine off. That's why.
Yeah, I get a bit sweary when I'm drinking.
Turned into Chubby Brown. Shall we leave it at that anyway? We will see you next time at some point. And I don't know how long we've done there. Probably just over an hour. But we're just one of those testing his mic out. We thought we'd have a bit of a chinwag.
Hope it sounds better.
It just sounded a lot better. Apart from that eerie.
Sound better.
Yeah, a lot better. Yeah,
creepy better.
Yeah, and we've tried it. We swapped it over from Restream and onto Zoom. We're getting a bit of connection problems on Restream. I'm a bit disappointed with that when you're just recording. Seems to be all right live, but it's when you're recording. Just recording. Anyway, so we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.